What have you seen from Mitchell so far?
Earlier to what we said, about when we drafted him, the explosiveness that he, goes off the ball and wins one-on-ones. I mean, he's been making a ton of plays out here the last couple of days.
Yeah, you kind of just piggyback and learn from all the vets for real. But one guy I did kind of just follow beyond was K-Mo. And then with K-Mo, just figuring out how he really watch film, dissecting film, going into each game week, even in practice, treat every single practice like a game. So it's big for sure.
Welcome on in, Colts fans, Colts faithful. Happy to have you. I got a very interesting video for you guys. There's some beautiful rumblings coming out of the OTAs and pertaining to Juju Brents, right? This was a kid who started his college career at the University of Iowa, a very prestigious, defensively sound program. And then he transfers to Kansas State, does a lot of great things. Is able to play man beautifully. He could play it off as well. Has a lot of great gifts, but in his rookie season, did not pan out the best way possible for him. I believe in that. Week 18 game against the Houston Texans, where he got beat on that post route, the first play. I do believe that he was benched right after, and so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what beautiful news has been coming about him and his growth this upcoming offseason. And then there's a player that Shane Steichen, it's getting rumored that he's going to make an offseason trade. The organization is going to make an offseason trade potentially to get this player into the building, a former running back for Shane Steichen. And then there's three players that PFF has put in their top 100 that we want to talk about. I want to talk about these guys. I know all of them, but I want to know your perspective. And also, there's going to be three other players that are on the outside of that top 100, and I just want to know from your point of view how you respect those players as well. I do want to talk about the information and the reports that are coming out of OTAs regarding Juju Brents. And like I said, guys, I was at the Senior Bowl. I had an opportunity to interview this man. I think it was an 8-minute interview. He was nice. He was awesome. He knows the game of ball. He was teaching me on the fly. I want to harp on the fact that as a rookie, you're given room to mess up. Even on that 75-yard touchdown that we talk about with Nico Collins, if you look at it right now, if you type in Nico Collins 75-yard touchdown on YouTube, you'll see it. And as you look at the play, you understand that Juju Brents is anticipating a break. He's anticipating something else. It's the first play of the game, and he doesn't turn and run. He still has his hips in an uncomfortable position to where he's not in a great enough position to take off running, and that's how Nico Collins beats him. You have these beautiful reports coming out that he has linked up with Kenny Moore. He and Kenny Moore have been hip to hip, and he is getting coaching. He is getting veteran coaching from one of the best, 100% one of the best nickel corners in the National Football League. I have been saying this for the past few seasons. I do believe that Kenny Moore is one of those guys that a lot of people don't know his name, but they see him on the field make plays. And Kenny Moore, to have that veteran mentorship, to be able to bring Juju Brents along, I just think that is just going to bode beautifully well for him. I love the measurables of Juju. He showed a lot of great promises even this past year. He had a lot of great competition. He had a lot of matchups that he was on the unfortunate side of, and I just love that he was still able to go out there and play, even though sometimes I do believe he got benched, he got sat out a few times, he needed to correct a few things. What did the draft show you, though? I see in this draft there wasn't a cornerback picked until the 6th or 7th round. You guys believe in Juju Brents, you guys believe in Julius. And I understand throughout the season, there were a lot of you guys just frustrated with them, upset with them, not really sure where he was going to pan out. Guys, I really like what Julius has. I like his package, I like his ability. I like his strength. I think he's a great man press corner. Even as a tall guy, I like his hips. He just has to learn the game. He has to learn concept. He has to learn how to take what the offense is giving him. A lot of quarterbacks do not know how to necessarily see the formation, see the alignment, see the situation, and then shrink in all these possibilities on what the potential route combinations, route concepts, or offensive game plan could be. And I just think it's just a matter of time, and to get into a beautiful bond with Kenny Moore, it's just going to bode well for Julius, and I truly mean that. Now, another beautiful thing of news that I want to talk about is Shane Steichen. And you know, this is just a rumor, but you have the unfortunate reality of Zach Moss leaving the building. And I understand that you guys, well, we got Jonathan Taylor. We have Jonathan Taylor. You guys got that Evan Hull kid as well, that other running back. He's smaller, low body of gravity, but still thick, being able to bounce off wimpy tackles. And then he has a little bit of a gear, and he gets out in front of those safeties, and he could probably take off a few times. And so there is a rumor out there that the Carolina Panthers and Miles Sanders, there's a potential trade happening. You guys saw how the Carolina Panthers drafted running back Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. He is going to be the starter. I think it's just going to be a matter of time until it's his show. And so the best way to get rid of Miles Sanders, who I think was a bad pickup for the Carolina Panthers, is getting him back with Shane Steichen. And the last time Shane Steichen and Miles Sanders were together against that big old offensive line that you guys now have, that kid was running, 1,300 yards rushing, had 11 touchdowns on the ground. Shane Steichen understands the beautiful way of play calling to help out Miles Sanders. You guys are a run-first team, and so I just love that potential of Steichen getting one of his guys. And you know, we've seen, I'm not calling Jonathan Taylor out, but we've seen the diva. We've seen that I want to sit out until I get my money. We've seen the injuries, which is why he didn't get his money up front. So you guys are going to need a legitimate backup plan if anything happens to JT. And I just think the Miles Sanders, I think that would be the best position for him, is to just stay with Shane Steichen, the guy who made him a lot of money by he signed to Carolina. And so I just want to know your thoughts on that. Let me know in the comments, where do you stand mentally with a potential trade or potential offer? And everything that I've been seeing, it's, you know, it's a 2025 fifth round pick, 2025 sixth round pick, around that, you know, range is his value. Let me know if that's something you want to see. Let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. He'd be, you know, kind of the scat back guy in a way, but he does have an ability to tote the rock a few times. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about is the 3 players that entered the PFF Top 100 board. And PFF, it's just a good source to really see up front what the talent is. You know, these guys really spend all their time, so it's not the end all be all, right? I mean, it's not the Bible. It's far from it. I just want to say, you got Quentin Nelson, you got Mr. DeForest Buckner, and you got Mr. Michael Pittman Jr. These 3 guys are the dudes that are on the top 100 for the PFF board, and I love it. Like, I genuinely love it to see these young cats. You know, Michael Pittman Jr. coming out of US had a lot of, you know, great things said about him, honestly, even through the draft. And so to see those things really pan out, it's beautiful. And then Quentin Nelson being a top 5 pick dude, him not being a bust, and then DeForest Buckner just being an absolute animal ever since he's been in the NFL. He's getting a little bit older, but he's still seen as one of the top interior defensive linemen. They're just so beautiful. And you have Lot 2 that's going to be lined up with him. And so that's just going to be a full penetration move when you have, you know, and I like Dale Ndangbo too. He doesn't get enough credit. I think he's a pass rusher. I really do like Dale Ndangbo as well. But the other players that were on the outside looking in, and this just goes to show, I don't know what, I understand your GM, Chris Ballard, he's always in the news. He always gets BS. He has great, you know, quotes and clips about talking about players. He's a freaking great drafter. Bernard Rainman, the Central Michigan tackle, who had a lot of issues as a rookie, but has really turned things around. He was a guy that was outside looking in. We already talked about Kenny Moore, who I genuinely believe is definitely one of the top 4. I would love him to start for the Cincinnati Bengals. That is my team. That is how much I love him, and I appreciate his skill set. And then the last guy that was on the outside looking in of that top 100 was your starting running back, Jonathan Taylor, right? And isn't that crazy how things kind of happen? And so we expect Jonathan Taylor to make another big approach, to be the starting guy, to play all the games. And as I said last year, the reason why I genuinely think Anthony Richardson got hurt and couldn't finish out the season is because Jonathan Taylor missed the first 5, 6, 7 weeks, something like that. I can't remember. But those were running plays that were then being transferred, of course, Zach Moss, but also to Anthony Richardson. I don't want that for him. I want Anthony Richardson to be able to run as the non-threat, a dual threat thing where the defense eyes is on Jonathan Taylor, to where the secondary option is going to be a corner or a safety or a weak side linebacker, someone that's probably not as brute of a force to then, you know, on a consistent basis be tackling and hitting Anthony Richardson. And I want to say that to say this. Jonathan Taylor needs to be ready to have 20 carry games, 20 to 25 consistently carried games. That's why you guys got to get another backup running back. I do not want the talents of Anthony Richardson to go away, to just be dissolved because of injury. He's still a quarterback, right? And he's a big man. He's a giant. And I just love the potential of this kid. I love the rocket live arm that he has. I love the potential of what Adonai Mitchell and what he can do with, of course, Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. And I have not given up on Alec Pierce whatsoever. This offense can do a lot of great things next year. And this defense, I genuinely believe Shane Steichen is putting them all in the right place, even as an offensive guy. Shane Steichen he's just such a nerd, right? He's just such a by-the-book, numbered nerd, but he has a leadership approach to what he does. And everyone just falls in line. He has won a lot of games. And so I love where you guys are headed. I love where you guys are. Let me know what you think. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.